Episode number 13, Lucky 13. Today we're happy to have as our guest Master Alejandro Mora of the Salinas TKD Academy. He's had over 30 years of martial arts experience and trained thousands of students in Taekwondo. He won the 1995 Mexican National Championships and took home second place in 1996. Moved to the United States and since 1998 has been the owner and head instructor of the Salinas TKD Academy. He's super positive and always seeks to find the good in everyone he works with. Let's get to the interview.
All right, welcome to this episode of the Artist of Motion podcast. Today we have Master Alejandro Mora of the Salinas TKD Academy. He's been the owner and head instructor since 1998. He started training at 8 years old in La Piedad, Michoacan, Mexico. He won the 1995 Mexican National Taekwondo Championships and took home second place in 1996. To date, he's trained over 2,000 students and promoted over 30 black belts since taking over the school. He's a wonderful human being, devoted husband and father, and he's treated me as a brother since I met him. I'm stoked he's appearing on the show today. Master Alejandro Mora, how are you today, sir?
Very good. Really happy to be here, Steve.
I'm stoked. So tell us a bit about your background. Where did you start training? Well, I already gave away the city, but you were 8 years old. How did you start training, and what are you doing today?
Okay, I start at the age of 8, and my mom wants me to be busy doing something, and mainly to learn how to defend myself. Like a lot of kids, a lot of parents, that's what they look for the kids when they start doing martial arts. And we found the only school that was in my town, in La Piedad. And she signed me up. And since then, I've been practicing Taekwondo.
I think we made the joke one time that I think you've been practicing Taekwondo as long as I've been alive.
Yes.
I'm 36 this year, so there you go.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, probably you were in diapers.
There you go. Okay, so you've also done some training in some other systems too, right?
Yes. Taekwondo, some karate, and judo, and kempo karate.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're one of the most positive, motivated guys that I know. And what I'm curious on is, how do you take that positivity and that motivation skills and help influence so many students?
I'm happy what I do, and I try to help. That's the main reason, to help other kids, other students to reach their goals, and to motivate them. And I need to motivate myself, and seeing another instructors and other friends. I'm just feel that I'm still learning, and through the teaching I still learning too. And I think that's mainly I just love what I do, and I'm happy to do that.
That's awesome. They say if you love what you do, it's never really going to work a day in your life, but it's a little different, I think, when you got 40 kids running around.
Well, there's work too. It has to be some work in that area, right? Yeah, I have to. Yeah, it's not easy sometimes to control little ones, but once that you have the system and older students, they help you to lead the little ones to behave and make you job easier.
We're recording this in January 2018. And I know back in December, the school had its 200th promotion test.
Yes.
So I was happy and privileged to be there for that particular test. And it was probably the best one I can remember in quite some time. It's just everybody was moving with purpose. Everybody had energy, the whole 9 yards. And it was a long exam. So my question is, how did it make you feel watching these guys get out there and give their all that way?
How I feel, of course, it feels great. But what it feels greater, I think that's correct to say.
Sure, why not?
Is I have the support of black belts like you and Matthew and Abraham and Joseph and the other junior black belts, Feliciano and Chris. I was surprised that he was there, and he shared with us part of his
journey.
Yes, that makes me really happy. And the kids, they perform. I think they were looking for that test too. They see that it was really important for us, and they took it like it was really important. It's gonna be really important for them too, and they put all the effort there, and and it was a long time. I mean, it was a long promotion test. Took around 5 hours, I think.
It was almost 6.
Almost 6, yes. And but everything runs good. That's the important part. We organize and you help a lot to lead it.
Not about me.
Not about you. Okay. No, yeah, I know. You never want to. Yeah, but I'm really glad that with all the black belts and even the parents, they were, helping a lot and
Yeah, big shout out to them.
yes. Yeah, it it takes a lot of patience, we waiting for the kids to perform and help to organize and control the kids when they're in the second room waiting for.
Yeah, Chano did a great
Yes.
job with that one.
Yes.
So 200 down. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when we get to the next 200, huh?
Hopefully we can get to the next 200. I
Well, it
hope
took what? Let's see. It's 2000
it takes
18,
around
and it was
20
1998.
years.
So there you go. 20 years from now.
Yes. I think I'm gonna still have energy. I'm gonna hopefully, everything's in
Working condition.
yeah, and we'll see. Hopefully, it's a big hope, and
And
we'll
by
see.
that point, your kids will be teaching.
That's another hope.
Shout out to the kids who might listen to this someday.
Yes, they like it. They like it. I don't know if they're gonna like to teach and continue it with my work. Probably at least one of them.
Well, I got 1 for 3 on that one, so either way,
Yes.
good times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's go back to some of your training history. I mentioned in the intro, took home national champion for country of Mexico in 1995, and then runner up in '96.
Mm-hmm.
So, tell us about your training that got you to that point. What did you do to stay so motivated to keep training? Because that's not an easy thing. Taekwondo is one of the biggest arts in Mexico.
Yes.
I don't know if it still is. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Is it still the biggest?
It's still the biggest. Yeah. The martial art with more practitioners in Mexico.
Okay, so
Still,
that means
yes.
it's a really big field of competition.
It's still and was a really
Okay, so
competition.
tell us how that training was. How did you keep yourself motivated and driving to put in that much effort and that much work?
I don't really like when I start Taekwondo. I never thought about competing. It was just like learn the art and influence for some movies and what you can do when you know martial arts. You can defend yourself and my mom mainly also besides. I have the tendency to gain a lot of weight, and and she's like, "Oh, this is a good thing for him," and I just knew when I start Taekwondo that I'm not gonna stop. I was planning actually. One of my cousins asked me like, "Oh, and how long you gonna do Taekwondo, or when you gonna get to black belt?" I didn't know how was the system, the belt system. I just started, putting. Numbers and imagine how long it will take, and I told my cousin probably when I am 55 I'm gonna be 9-degree black belt.
Nice.
But it was just like my thought in that moment. I never thought like, oh, I'm gonna do it for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. It was just like, and happened to be practicing with Patricia Mariscal. She was in the national team for 5 years, and she was second place in Korea in the first or second, I think it was the second world Taekwondo championships.
Wow.
Championship, yeah, and she went to Olympics in 1992. They were in Barcelona, right? In 1992.
I believe so.
Yes, yeah. She went to Barcelona. Unfortunately, she didn't place, but it was a great experience. And I used to
you got
be.
to say you competed at the Olympics.
Yes, and I was when she was in break from the Mexican committee from the Olympics committee. She used to tell me like, oh, I think the girl from the United States is around your height. I need you to practice with me, and I was like, okay. And I used to be every morning like around 10:30 practicing with her and doing some sparring, and I learned a lot from her. And my instructor is more like traditional. Yeah, her husband, well, her ex-husband, but they were a really good team, and they still be a good team, even though that they are not together as a couple, but they still as a martial artist, they still training and teaching, and
Nice.
it's great because I learned a lot from her. She has a great spirit and a lot of indomitable spirit.
Nice.
And she just motivated me that she's like, oh, you can compete, you're good, try it, it's gonna be a good experience. And I just keep doing it. The feeling was good. To be honest, when I start competing, I probably lose 3 out of 4 of my matches when I first started this journey of competition. But later on, start balancing, and it was good, very good times where it wasn't a good winning
Got on a win streak.
track. Yes, and later on, things change. You don't have sometimes the opportunity to continue competing, but I have the opportunity to continue teaching, and I'm here.
That's awesome. Well, I'm happy you moved here because otherwise I wouldn't have gotten to meet you. So I'm stoked on that.
Yeah.
It's been one of my best friends I've ever met.
Thank you.
Mentor, friend, teacher, all of the above. And you treated me like a brother since the first time we met. You didn't have to do that, but I really do appreciate it. It's truly my honor. So what did that daily training schedule look like? You were how old at that point?
When I used to practice, when I used to compete.
Yeah.
Okay, I started competition like more seriously when I was 15 years old, and it was like back then already like you were in the seniors and 15-year division. It was kind of hard because you have to fight with grown men,
I was going to say, you got people like what, up to 30, 35?
Yes, and
Oof.
it was an open division, and you're still a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still feeling bad. I have the luck or the opportunity to win my first state championship when I was 15 years old, and I went to nationals. I didn't place. I didn't, I won my first match, and my second match I get eliminated, but it was a good experience. And to tell you, the second year I didn't make a state. I get out of, I was eliminated before we went to nationals, but when I was the next year I make it again in the state, and that's yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were 15 when you started, so you're still in school at that point.
Yes.
So you wake up, you breakfast, whatnot, you go to school, and then after school you go straight to Taekwondo, or how did that
Yeah,
work?
that was it. My routine was like when I started competing. I was in starting it would be like 10 and then
10th grade?
10th grade.
Okay.
And I used to have the class at 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. But sometimes I used to finish my school at 7:40 p.m. It's a kind of weird. We start at 12:40 the classes, but
Okay, so it's not in the morning, it's afternoon.
yes. And I used to run to school, get my classes, go back, go to Taekwondo. Usually, I used to take the last class, 8 to 9, and later on is when my instructor, she used to invite me to work with her in the morning, like practice with her in the morning. I used to practice around 10:30 in the morning, and then go to school at 12. We start class at 12:40, and then go back after Taekwondo, after school, go back to Taekwondo and practice,
So
for
you're doing
another
double sets
hour.
a day.
Yeah, sometimes.
Nice.
Yeah, not every day, but 3 or 4 times out of the week. Yes.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you're young and you got all the energy, you can do that, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And before that, I remember before when I was in like a ninth grade, it was in the morning shift in school, and I used to go to the Taekwondo around 4, because over there we have to give some service to the dojang,
Mhm.
and that way we can, to test for your black belt. And it was when I was getting ready to test for my black belt, and I used to practice, to help the instructor at 4 o'clock, the class with the little kids, and
Mhm.
then go practice at 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock, and sometimes I just stay there to help, a little bit, or just talking with other students. And it was like a second home for me. I spent 3 4 hours a day in my when I was in ninth grade.
I
Yeah.
love stories like that. That's
Yes.
you know.
Yeah. And later on is when I start the 10th grade. Is the school is when it changed, and I have to adjust my schedule. But I was a black belt already back then, by then. And I did that for 2 3 years.
Nice.
Yes.
And then moved here to USA, and then eventually landed where you're at now at the Tae Kwon Do Academy in 1998.
Actually, I started teaching in 1997.
Okay.
But yeah, I started teaching in 1997. But I took over the school
In 98.
In 98. At the end of 98, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's I started training like December of 98. I took 2 classes. The first style I studied, and I've been active ever since. And I think I met you in I don't know, first quarter or second quarter 99. So it's been
Yeah.
almost
sounds
20
right.
years now.
Yes. Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah. And we look the same.
Yeah, I'm 100 pounds heavier than I was when we met.
Well, but we look the same, heavier but the same.
Yeah. You got less injuries than I do, but yeah, you don't really look a whole lot older than when I met you. So I was a kid when we met, and
Yeah.
is what it is. So that's an extensive amount of training in an early period in your life. Had the opportunity to work with somebody who was part of a national team. That's a major motivation. Somebody went to the Olympics even.
Mm-hmm.
How did you stay motivated to keep training after you had moved and now you're up here in a different situation?
I think it's just something that start getting into your blood, and you cannot quit. I have another good friend that we used to practice together. Also, he was a member for a couple years of the national team, and Jorge Torres, Cermeño. He was a heavyweight. I'm not that heavy, but I used to help him too a lot, and just seeing him being there, and he was a really nice guy, nicer than me. Yeah,
That's
really
saying something. You're one of the nicest guys I know.
Yeah, and we used to be a group of friends, just working with him sometimes. And when he comes the weekends, practicing Saturdays, not all the Saturdays, but some Saturdays and Sundays, and vacation time, we used to hang, all together and keep practicing, and that friendship, it's like a second family that you have. Until this day, we're still in communication, and they're really close friends. Well, they're far, but we still like connected.
Yeah, you're brothers.
Yes, and I love that. I love that feeling, and most of the schools, probably not all the schools, but most of they have that kind of integration, and I love to my students feel that way with other fellow students, and that's what motivates me a lot. Like how give the other kids the same opportunity that I had, even for my kids. They see the like my kids, they see other students, like even my little one, when sees some like Peter kids, it's like I want to go with my cousins. It's like, okay, well, they're your cousins, why not?
There you go.
Yeah, they feel that connection too. And they're only he's only 5 years old, and
Yeah, he's basically like born into the school.
yeah, and he see these kids, and they just call them like, oh, my cousins, and, and it's great. It's great, and the kids see him like cousin too. Yeah, and it's something like I love to see in my own kids and my students, and well, there's times like when we do have to do sparring and we get mad at each other, but as brothers, we do that too with
Yeah.
our own blood brothers, right? Yeah.
Yeah, just normally you don't try to take your brother's head off, but
Yeah.
well, I mean, maybe, you know.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that sense of family, that sense of that community is huge.
Yes.
I was talking about it with somebody at work the other day, and they asked me how do you describe yourself? I said, I'm a husband, father, and martial scientist. I can't separate martial arts from who I am. It's a part of me, and I've got to say it's the same way for you, because everything you do revolves in some case. There's martial arts involved with it.
Yes.
You know, even in I watch how you interact with your kids, even if it's not teaching them Taekwondo, but you're teaching them a life lesson. It's like, I remember him teaching me that same principle in a Taekwondo lesson. He just applied it over here to, don't, put your hand on a firebox or something, It's exact same principle. It's just really, it's always fun for me to see that, because you have people that do martial arts and you have people that are martial artists.
Yes.
There's a difference between the
Yes.
guys who do it one day a week for 2 hours and the guys who live it and breathe it every day,
Exactly.
And
And I used to say, I hear from other masters, like, this, and we say it's a way of life, and I love this way of life, and I want for my kids to have this way of life, and I see in you guys, like, other black belts and other instructors, that they're really committed to the martial arts, and they still learning. I still learning. I still, every day that when I teach and when I see another instructor teaching, I learn from him. I learn from them. I can apply it in my, that's why to earn a degree, you need to have experience in teaching. You have to have experience in seeing martial arts, live in the martial arts. It's not just like, okay, it's a funny story. One of the kids one time get a black belt, and he quit like the second month after he get his black belt, and he said, when I can get my second degree, and it's like, okay, you need to have at least one year from your first degree black belt to the second, and he quit. And 1 year after, he came, was like, I want to test for my second degree. I said, no, you misunderstand that. You need to be involved in the martial art. You need to be training and and helping, another friends.
yeah,
with
it's not about the
martial
rank;
arts.
it's the knowledge that you get.
Yes, and you need to be present to to get that knowledge. It's just like, I know, just appear and I'm ready for my second degree black belt. It's like, doesn't happen that way.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to learn if you're not here.
Yes. Yes.
It's amazing to me. I'd actually, for one of the previous podcast interviews I did the math on like how many students it takes to get to black belt. Because one of the questions you hear all the time is, how long does it take the average student to get to black belt? And the answer, of course, is the average student doesn't make black belt. It's somebody special, because across the entire industry, we lose 50% of our student base at every level. So if you start with 100 white belts, you get, for Taekwondo, the next level would be yellow stripe. So you start with 100 white belts, you only get 50 yellow stripes. And then you means you only have 25 yellow belts, which then means up the chain, right?
Yes.
So I did the math on it for a guy named Mike Andrus's podcast, who he teaches another Korean inspired style. And the ranking system has the same number of ranks. But I think it was like 1 out of every 375 students that makes black belt. That's like 0.004%. Find me any other industry where that's a good thing. 0.005% chance of success. I mean, that is, you would never make it as a baseball player. You'd never make it as as an accountant. You'd never make it as anything with that kind of a success rate. But that's what it takes to wear that black piece of cloth around your waist to keep your jacket closed. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's the people who've gone on and earned that are just really dedicated people.
Yeah.
On that same podcast, I told the story about Javier and when he took his test. And I relayed the part about, normally I'm sitting on the board. That particular day I was playing Master of Ceremonies because we had enough people that I didn't need to do both. And when it came time for his test, you looked at me and called me over, waiting for me to talk, ask questions or whatnot. And I remember distinctly the question that I asked him was, what did he think his biggest asset was? And he thought about it for a good 30, 40 seconds before he answered. And he said, I really think it's my forms. And the reason he thought it was his forms is because that's the only time that he gets to practice every bit of his basics, all of his movements and whatnot, without there being other outside distractions. He can be inside himself. He can really work on that technique, really be defined. He's what, 11, 12?
He's gonna be 12 this year.
That's crazy for that level, that young of a kid to have that elaborate of an answer. I disagreed with him. My answer to him was, I don't think that's his biggest asset. His biggest asset to me is that he's coachable. It doesn't matter who it is
yes.
that wants to pull him aside to talk to him. It could be somebody higher ranked, lower ranked, the teacher, the random, it doesn't matter. He listens to everybody and tries to find value in something that they say.
Yes,
that's
correct.
Such a positive lesson for every martial artist. It doesn't matter what rank somebody's wearing. It doesn't matter how long they've been training. You've taught now for, professionally at this school, 20 years.
Yes.
But you were teaching for how long before that?
Since I was 16, 15 years old. Well, when I was helping my instructor. And since then, I've been teaching. It means that I've been teaching for 30 years.
So 30 years of experience. As you said earlier, though, even teaching the white belts, you learn stuff from them.
Yes.
Different ways of portraying information, different ways of positioning something so that somebody can get it. There's the flip side to that is that the student has to be coachable. They have to be willing to listen.
Yes.
And I was really, really happy with the way he answered that and the way his attitude was. And that goes for the other two people who were testing for black belt as well. But that particular one, I really wanted to see what he was going to come up with. I was really proud of that one.
Yes. It's really, he loves martial arts. He doesn't do any other sports. The only he does is Tae Kwon Do. And I'm surprised when I talk to the parents when they tell me, by this, he comes to class every single day and he stays for 2 classes, sometimes for more. And he helps actually. Sometimes he practices one class and he loves to help in the other class. And besides that, he goes to his house and he look for videos, martial art videos, and he tries to learn. And then he comes the next day and try to share with us what he learned from there. And that's a good example for any black belt that you keep learning and to keep experimenting and what is work for, because how we know every single student is different and the skills are different and the level of learning is different, and we need as much help we can from other students. And how I say, I still learning from my students, I still learning from other instructors, and sometimes I start analyzing, what's the purpose of anything in the martial arts, and it's it never ends.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
I have one of my guys who got promoted to yellow belt. So he's been with me for a year, and he did a phenomenal job on his yellow belt test. I was watching him move the other day, and you can tell the light bulbs are turning on all the time. Things are clicking for him all the time. And he stopped in the middle of class yesterday, and he looked at me, and he goes, and that was it. He just was silent. I'm like, you okay? And he goes, I think I just realized how much there is to learn. And I go, you had that moment. What does that mean for you? He goes, then I'm going to be doing this the rest of my life.
Great.
That's freaking awesome.
Great. Yes.
That's exactly what you want to hear as a teacher.
Yes.
You've got some of your guys now have been with you for, well, Peter's been around since what, 99?
99, yes.
And then Matt's been around since 99 or 2000.
The same, yes.
Abraham since 2004?
4, 5.
Ish?
Yes,
You
yes.
got guys that have been there now for 10, 12, 15, almost 20 years.
Yeah, Joseph has been there since 2001, I think.
He's right
2002.
behind me. He started 6 months after me.
Yes.
But I didn't, he was there the whole time, and I had 10 years off because
Yeah.
couldn't kick with back surgery. So,
Yes.
But yeah,
Yeah.
and they're there every week.
Chano, Feliciano, he technically grew with us, and
Literally, he grew up there.
Yes, he was 4 years old when he started. He's 18 now, and
Yeah.
it's great. It's great. I'm feeling old now. Yeah.
Wiser.
Wiser,
There
yes.
you go. Okay. So, who do you think has been your biggest influences in your martial arts career?
My biggest influence in martial arts.
Could be multiple.
Well, yeah, definitely my teacher, Patricia, my instructor, Rodrigo Mares. Well, they were my first instructors,
Mhm.
and she was she teach me my first class, and she was great. My instructor is a little bit Rodrigo Mares. Yeah, he was great example as how to carry yourself, how to live uh, as a martial artist. Yeah, the discipline that he has, and uh, how he loves the martial arts, and also he started teaching when he was 15 years old. He has his first school when he was 15 years old.
Wow.
Yes, and they they were the first influences, and of course, I see um, my own students when they keep they keep going, they keep learning, and that motivates me. I need to keep going. I need to learn from them. And when I start learning, I, all the teachers are different, and I love to learn from them in different areas. Uh, Sensei Omura, some people think like well, the way he teaches just like
He's a old school,
yes,
hard-nosed judo teacher.
yeah, he just tells you what is in his mind in the moment, and he just tell you. He's not gonna put any flour in there to
Yeah,
make
he
it look
doesn't
good.
pull any punches. He's going to be exact to the point because he knows if he can get you to correct it, you're going to be better for it.
Yes, and I like him, and the way he teach, and I cannot teach how he teach.
Mm-hmm.
It's just different, and he does that. He's been doing that for I don't know how many years.
He's had some national champions that he taught as well. They
Yes.
brought up. I think a couple of his guys went to the Olympics.
And actually, one kid right now he won. He got second in the Pan American Games.
Nice.
12-year-old kid. Yes, in his division. He just came back in November.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in November, I think. Yeah. If
That's
I'm not
great.
mistaken. Yeah, and I see him how he teach, and it's like, wow, he teach really good, completely different that I teach, I think. But it's just different. It's just different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Abraham teach good, and how I say, all the instructors influence me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I try to get better because I want to be better for them too. Yeah.
I love it. I love hearing stuff like that.
Yes, and yeah, that's what motivates me.
Okay. So you had the biggest influences were your first two teachers, still pulling influences out from, anybody you can spend time with now. What do you think the biggest challenge in learning how to teach is?
In learning how to teach, when the teaching, sometimes we can be good practitioners, but definitely I'm gonna tell you a quick story about me teaching a 5-year-old girl, and when I lose control, she make me lose my control. It's like I teach her for like well, different class, but that day I spent choose one-on-one. My instructor told me, teach her her form, her pumse in Taekwondo, kata and karate, right? Teach her. Okay, I teach her pumse, and she got it. I was really good, like feeling real great. I'm a really good instructor. I'm really good. I was 15 years old back then. And later on, I see her, and I ask another kid to stand up. I help him for like a 3-4 minutes. I see this kid. I stand up the girl, and she forgot her fumse, and it's like, oh, I technically yell, but you knew it. What happened? You know this form. I lose control there. It was like, and my instructor look at me, and it's like, what happened? And I feel so ashamed that I cannot, I lose my control there. It's like, I promised to myself, like, I have to, from now on, I need to control myself because I'm teaching little kids and they're going to forget that 2 minutes later after you think they know it. Right?
Attention span in nanoseconds.
Yes, exactly. And it was like, yeah, now I see Lori, the movie. I know what they talking about. No, it's kidding. but yeah, that moment made me realize that you need to have patience to teach and just understand, like different, different kind of students. Some of them without having classes of teaching. Later on, I have to take courses of how to teach martial arts, but it's not just like, oh, I'm a black belt, I'm going to start teaching. It doesn't happen. I make so many mistakes. I lose so many students because probably, nothing sure, but probably because I make a mistake. Probably because I didn't make them keep the motivation to keep going. And I was focusing probably in competition and teach them how to be a good fighter when they just want to learn the art. They want to learn self-defense and they don't want to compete. You start thinking about, why they stop, what is. And during these years, especially when I start teaching, like formally in the school, I know that I make mistakes, and that's why I tell my students, like, I try to, they have the opportunity to have someone to correct them and to tell them what they did wrong in the class, and they can correct it. I didn't have that opportunity. I was like thrown to the corral with a bull.
Yeah.
And just like,
Here you go. Have fun.
Yeah, without having any instruction how thing to teach. And later with the years, that when I see courses of, some conventions of martial art conventions where they know that they're going to be other instructors sharing the way they teach and sharing what they teach, sharing any experience that they have, I used to attend it. I did it for many, many years, and it was not easy. I have sometimes students, I'm a black belt, I want to start teaching. And I thought, no, I'm going to give you the opportunity to come and help and learn how to teach. And we have another instructors that they can give you orientation. And you have made mistakes, and we're going to be there to correct you and help you without losing any student.
It's always fun when you get somebody who is really gung-ho and they want to teach and they want to be part of that. You say, okay, I want you to show them this, and I want you to show them this, and I want you to show them this. I'm going to give you 3 things that you can go show them, right? Just because otherwise you're going to send them out there and you get the deer in the headlights look. They just walk out and they go, okay, everybody bows in, and what do I do now?
Yes.
And then you get panic, and then it's just not good at all.
You start repeating the same thing over and over, and you have to go to the rescue there. Oh.
Well, even the ones that sometimes you give them the 3 things, or even if you give them 1 thing, sometimes they go, I know how to do this. I have no idea how to present this. I didn't think of what it would be like to be in front of 30 people. And then again, time to go to the rescue.
Yes. Well, another thing that happens when I start teaching here in the United States, my English is still not good, but now you can understand me. Yeah, right? But when I first started teaching, my English, my accent was heavier, and technically I have to do the class with air. I have to teach and perform in every single thing that I used to say. Follow me. That was my word. Follow me, follow me, follow me, and it's harder to teach that way. What it's such because sometimes you want to how you say, well, you want to break every single thing that you're teaching, for the student, and the communication, doesn't allow you to do that. And it was hard. It was a big challenge for me, and now it's easier. I can explain, and I think I can, communicate better and make it easier. Yeah.
That's tough. You get out there, and then especially when you get that student who you can tell they really, really want it, and they're just not getting it.
Yes. Yeah, you kind of want to explain exactly what it's about, but the communication barrier, and but now it's easier, and it's more fun, and yeah.
So for people out there who are new, like they're just starting to learn how to teach, what's the first thing you try to get them to understand?
That every single student is different. That of course, you're gonna teach a class, but you're teaching Kevin, Pablo, Juan, John, and they're different. And some of them they're gonna learn in a different way. You're gonna be teaching your class, but sometimes we have to approach to the students different. Yeah, and some of them they're gonna get it faster than the other ones. That's the main thing, when they start teaching, it's like, this is the way we teach. That's what we teach, but keep in mind that you're teaching
30 different individuals.
Yes, and the 5-year-old is not gonna be the same as the 7-year-old or the 9-year-old. Yeah, they're they learn different. Some of them they get it faster. There are exceptions. Yeah, there's 5-year-olds that they'll learn look like a 12-year-old, but they're you're gonna figure out there. You're gonna see it, and you're gonna know. I tell them, know the students, know Carlitos, know Brian, know every single kid, and even the way you're gonna motivate one is gonna be different than the way you're gonna motivate the other one. Probably for one you say, okay, if you do this good, we're gonna start running, and for one kid it's gonna great, we're gonna run, and for the other one it's like, oh, this is punishment. Right? or vice versa. Sometimes you need to be given a little punishment to the kid. Do 10 push-ups, and the kids next to him is like, can I do 20?
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it. And it's like, and you realize he just thinks like it's a prize. It's not like a really like a
there's no punishment for him.
No punishment, yes. No. And you need to find a way. Some kids that you send him time out is gonna be like at the end of the world for him. It's like, no, don't don't send me to okay. If you don't work hard, you're gonna be in the corner. Okay, I'm gonna work hard. Another kid is like, I don't want to do anything. Send me to the corner. Yeah.
They're trying to get out of work.
Yeah.
Okay. And then there's a whole different dynamic in teaching between teaching kids and teaching adults. And that learning the differences in those is almost just, that's harder, I think, than learning how to teach it in the first place. Is you got to communicate differently with adults than you do with kids. Yes. Kids, you can drill them over and 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 over again because they're just going to keep moving, right? Yes. The adult's going to get bored.
Yes.
And
you need to know exactly what the adult, well, like any other student, but especially the adult, what they go there for, and make sure that you're gonna be teaching. It's part of what you teach, and be straight with him. This is what we teach, how we want to be teaching, and yeah, he's gonna be expecting that, and yeah, most of the adults that they go there, they enjoy it, and but that's why we have separate class from adults,
Right.
to
That's,
kids.
yeah, there's a lot of places that lump everybody together, and I don't see how you can do that productively. I really don't.
No, yeah, we have that option. We have the option of family class, but
That's a different set,
Yeah,
though.
it's a different set because
Yeah.
the parents they just want to spend time with the kid,
Right.
and they adjust what the kid's gonna be doing.
Right, and
Yes.
you've tailored the class so that they work in little family groups. You know, it's
Yes.
designed around that.
Yes.
So yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So we talked about motivation. We talked about some of your influences. The thing I haven't really hit on yet, and I want to, because you're one of the most positive people I've ever met, and I've known you literally. It's 20 years this year. I've seen you pissed off like once, and I mean, I've seen you get irritated with something, but you never take it out on anybody. You know, you always, how do I take this and make this positive for what I'm teaching with? You know, I've seen teaching classes where this kid over there is just not listening to anything you're telling him to do, and he's disrupting the class, and you never take it out on any. You never take out that frustration in a way that it negatively impacts the class. So you always find a way to spin it positively, and positively make the class go in the better direction. So my question on that one is, where did you learn that skill of being able to be positive about everything that happens?
I never thought about it because where I learned that, I just,
I mean, your outlook on everything is, hey, I got a flat tire today. Cool. That means you get some exercise while you're walking to work. You know?
Yeah, we have to look in the beneficial part of the tragedy. I think I during the years, talking with especially with older friends, and you can learn that life is life is to enjoy it. Life is, why you gonna be mad of something like it's out of your hands? So could be in your hands, but you make a mistake. It's like, okay, learn from that mistake and just keep going. And can you say if a kid, for example, one time one parent asked me like, okay, this kid is out of control. Do you think it's gonna? I saw him. If it's just like take it like a challenge, and it's gonna be, if he goes to the right way, and it's gonna be a big achievement, and it's just they're just challenges, and it gives some flavor to life.
You don't get bored that way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't have to. Yeah, that's why it's not routine, because every single time you come to the class, you're gonna face something different. Even we teach the same martial art. Even for I've been teaching this for many years, and I feel like it's different, and you have to find a way to teach this particular case, and learn from that, and later you will see that it's not a big deal. It's just part of it.
So do you think that's the key, is looking at it on the big scale? Yeah, this might suck for this one moment in time, but look at it on the scale of, your entire life. It's not that big of a deal?
Yes, yes, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, probably in that moment, that kid is gonna make you feel that you're not a good instructor and you cannot control it. But I have pretty good experience with kids that they've been a challenge, and they appreciate it. And now I can tell some of those kids they are parents, and they come to visit me, and they trust me with their kids, and they come and they kind of they come to introduce me their spouse, and it's like it's great. And it's like, okay, I think I did something good with this student, even if it was and one of the students told me one time, oh, Mr. Mora, do you remember when I used to hate you? It's like, I know, I don't remember, but you were so hard on me that I used to hate you. Oh, I didn't know that. I told her, but I'm glad that yeah, now you don't hate me anymore. and it was funny in the moment. And another experience is some of the kids with autism, and he got to black belt, and he told me one time I visited his family. It happens that we went to that town where they're living, and he's like, "Oh, Mr. Mora, I just want to thank you that you were really patient with me, and I really appreciate what you did to and I feel great. I never expect that, but it's a great feeling. That I never thought that he's gonna be thanking me for sometimes being, I was patient with him because I knew the condition, but sometimes he was completely out of control, and I remember the father was out of control because of him, and the kid could see, and he just wanted me to teach him, and I was, it's my job to, to do that, and he accomplished, things, and he appreciated that, the way we were teaching.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. I like stories. So you've been there for 20 years at this point. Can you share a couple of really impactful stories like that with us, that, things that you remember from a class? We don't have to name any students' names or anything, but while you're teaching, this kid had a breakthrough, and it was impactful for you that this guy had he got that concept, or he figured this out, or, something where it made a big impact for the school, or, something like that. I mean, you've taught 2,000 students, so there's got to be a few of them in there.
Yeah, I want to choose the correct story for now.
I'll pick a few. Worst comes to worst, I can just edit around them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. This, well, I could tell a story about, this girl, another girl who won nationals, right?
Okay.
When she was in nationals, she did a great job. Next year, I started pushing her more because it's gonna go a different level, different group, weight group, and so it's gonna be this way, and and it's like we went to a competition. That year was kind of funny because another student fell asleep, and we prepared all these months, and he fell asleep on a bench, and we flew 3 hours, and he didn't have the opportunity because he just fell asleep. But going back to this girl, is I did my best. I did my best to to prepare them, and she was kind of against that. I could feel that she was kind of resisting to practice and to follow instructions, and it was why? I didn't know, but unfortunately she plays and the next year in nationals, but she plays in third, and she was sad because she thought that she could win again, and without put the effort into it. And I find out that when the mom says, come on, mija, tell Mr. Mora that he was too hard on you, and you can take anyone. He's exaggerating in their training, and it was for me was a surprise because I didn't know that, but in some way I feel happy that happened. That way she learned her lesson,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And another is like, okay, she learned the hard way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say something ahead of time? Yeah.
Yes. And well, Martin, the other part is the Martin that he fell asleep at same competition, same day, and it was like, "Where's Martin?" He's like, "Oh, Mr. Mora, what time I fight?" It's like, "What are you talking about? Let's see what your fight number 147," and they were calling the 180 fight. It's like,
You slept through your competition.
yes, and you know it was hard. In that back then, we were two coaches, and we have 7 kids competing the same day, and
Oh, that could be interesting, especially if they're in two different rings on the opposite side.
it was a couple times that happened. Yeah, and but you know we survived. Yeah, and that competition we have to with Scott Amanaha.
Oh, yeah.
We have to sleep in the airport. We spent 2 days to get here.
Oh, jeez.
Stay in the airport.
Wow.
It was a good story. You know, it was. You know, we fly and they have to. It was like overbook, and we
Oh.
have to stay here. And it was like in the Semana Santa. How you call it? Semana Santa, in Easter week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was busy week, and but it was a good thing. We leave Sunday and we get here Tuesday. The good thing that I have some black belts helping teaching the classes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, actually, you were back then.
Yeah, I remember
teaching?
you taking Scott out to that one. I don't remember if I was teaching I don't remember if I was doing most of the teaching at that point or if I was just
Yeah,
helping, but
Yeah,
I was there at that point.
and that's yes, yeah, it was a great year.
I remember when you got back, you were really tired.
Yes.
You basically dropped off stuff at the school and said, "I'm going home."
Yes, yeah, I did that. It was crazy. Yeah, a good experience.
Yep.
Give us a story to tell today.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, those light bulb moments when somebody learns something, and especially when it's somebody who, for whatever reason, they get it, and then other kids take notice, or other students take notice of it, and then they learn the same thing for whatever reason. It just takes one of them to spread that I don't know, light bulb moment, I guess.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, you know, and you were mentioning about be positive and you know how you. It's just like you know. Sometimes I tell as a joke, like, oh, now you have when something happened to you in your life. It's like, oh, now you have a story you can tell to your grandkids.
There you go.
Yeah.
One of my buddies who's also on the podcast. I've been running around grabbing all my buddies first, you know, and then some of the people that I can convince to get on here early enough. But he was just like, his family motto is "Live the stories that are worth telling."
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Let's see where we at. We got a few more minutes on there. So, okay, we talked about positivity. We talked about motivation. In your martial arts career, who do you think has been the most influential person who's not one of your teachers?
It's a good question. I never I never think about it. It just came. Let me see. Most influential. In my martial arts career, my martial arts life.
Which is basically your life, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes, yes. Well, it's kind of like probably good influence and bad influence. Well, let me tell you, and out of my parents, of course,
Okay.
right? My mom first, is like you can learn in this how to defend yourself and stay in shape because for your health. You want to be, too big because you have a tendency to gain weight and and it's gonna keep you need to be working out, and it's like, okay, that was like influence that put that seed in my mind that I need to learn how to defend myself and stay in good shape. And another influence, like my dad, the way he motivates is kind of like make you feel like he doesn't believe in you. It's like it's like a way to challenge you. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't think you can do this. It's like,
Okay.
yeah, I don't think you can finish a career. I
Okay,
mean, like,
so-
yes,
So it's the challenge.
it's a challenge.
Show me
like-
what you got.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and I remember this story one time. Like, I competed in this kickboxing. It was back then like full contact fight, and I was only 17 years old, and actually it was a national competition, and I get second place there because it was funny. We compete. I fight, and I won my first match. I go to my second match, and I lose my second match, and then right away they send me to the match for another match for to place, right? And what happened was that one of the judges came to me and apologized because his decision was not the correct one, and it caused me, to be in second place and still first place. And they said, "Oh, I have too much pressure and that." But well, to go to the, they give me a trophy. I went to my house, really happy, because I get second place, and of course with pain in my legs and bruises. And my dad is like, "Oh, how much you pay for that?" He was like, "Oh." Feels me, make me feel like, I'm not good enough for what, but if, with the years, you have to know your dad, and it's the way he was happy inside. He was really happy about it, and they never had the opportunity to really go to my competitions. I think my mother went to one tournament, and when I have to fight, she turns to see the other fight because she doesn't want to see me, being hurt. And but it's how it is. And but I think as as a son, you want to please your parents in some way, and don't and make them feel proud of you. And I think any son should think about it, and you own most of you what you are to your parents, and there for you they give you what you need to grow, right? And because of them you are what you are, and of course influence and the people around you, but what they tell you influence in the influence that you have around you.
It's almost like a catch-22 circle.
Yes.
They influence you, you influence them back.
Yes, but your parents tell you all the time, like, this is what's gonna happen. This is what it's gonna be. And when with people around you, that's happening is you remember them telling you, oh, this is what my dad told me. This is what my mom told me. That's going back to the influence. Yeah, I think that's the first ones that influenced me, positive or negative. I don't know if it's negative or positive, but in their way.
Well, you're successful now, so it's got to be positive long term.
Yes.
So, all right, let's switch gears a little bit. So I'm going to give you a hypothetical what if.
Okay.
So let's say you're back to being 9 years old again.
Okay.
But you have to pick something else besides Taekwondo to study. What else out there do you think you would like to study?
It's a hard question. Like a sport or martial art or...
Let's go with martial arts.
Let's go to
Sports
martial
opens
arts.
up to so many different... I mean, martial arts is a big enough topic, so...
It is just like Taekwondo was available, and it's what the first martial art that I discovered. But I think I could be happy with any martial art. Yeah, influence for any martial art. I think the purpose is the same. Yeah, and of course, they're more. Some of them they're more fun than the other ones, and some ones has the competition side, and other ones no, really traditional. But I would be, happy with anyone.
Okay.
Yeah, and how you say I try to learn from any single class that I take, any single. When I used to go to these conventions, the martial arts conventions, I used to sign up for this class, for that class, for Hapkido, doesn't matter, karate, Kempo karate. Like when they're gonna teach you specific things, and that helps me to teach what I teach and see it from different perspective, and even why we do this stance, and in judo we do the same, but I never thought about it, and it's the same. One time one Hapkido instructor told me how many ways they can attack you. It's like, well, this way, are the same.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Eventually, there's only so many ways the human body can move.
Exactly, and it's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense, and okay, I'm gonna use this way. Okay, right, and it was fun to learn from them. How it's fun to learn from any other instructor, and doesn't matter if it's judo, jiu-jitsu, karate, or even kung fu. This you find what it is, the purpose of what they do, and of course every single one has a positive and a positive how you say purpose, and learn it, and if it's some martial art you think, or some area you don't think is gonna work for you, well, it's your choice. Yeah, you learn it, but it's your choice. Your choice if you want to use it or not.
Ultimately, it's whichever tool you feel like is the right one for you to use.
Exactly. Yes.
I like how you tied that back into everything has positives. That's great. So you've been training now for 36 years-ish?
Yes.
So if we go by my age as the barometer, so I think it's fair to use since we've talked about it enough. Where do you see yourself going in the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years?
Okay, I see myself still teaching and stretching and trying to keep, of course, not compete anymore, but I see myself keep doing this martial arts, keep doing, learn my forms, go up in level, influence more students to keep doing martial arts. I see myself probably seeing my kids teaching, at least for fun. Yeah, at least, of course, I want them to do what they feel like doing, and if they want to be a soccer player, professional soccer player, that's okay. That's great. Even better. but as any kid, they have this dreams, and I hope my kids reach their dreams, but I see myself teaching martial arts, and I see myself seeing my kids come to help me to teach, and not on a regular basis probably, but hopefully some of them, they like to follow the same path, and enjoy it how I enjoy it, but I see my grandkids,
Dynasty going on.
I see my grandkids practicing taekwondo, and yeah, I hope one day I can be teaching them, right?
Nice.
Yeah.
So keep doing what you're doing.
Yes, exactly, and
All right.
and just learning from everybody who is willing to share. Yeah.
I did an interview with another gentleman earlier today, and he basically said, for a while it was just, have gi will travel. It doesn't matter if I can learn something. I can learn something from anybody.
Yes.
And it's,
Great. Yeah.
As soon as he said that, you were the first name that came to mind because that's how you've been since I've known you. So
Yes.
we've had a great chat today. I love talking with you every chance I get, anyways, just because it's we've been friends and all that fun stuff for 20 years.
Yes.
I'm truly grateful you spent the last hour plus with me. I really, really appreciate it. What I'd like to do is ask you, so we have literally a worldwide audience, and this is going out to, at present when we're recording this, we're at 20 different countries that have had people listen to our podcast.
Great.
So we have the opportunity to send out positivity to the world. So on that note, what message would you like to send out for them?
I want you to, I want to recommend you to go and find a martial art and learn any martial art. Could be any martial art you want, and try to put your mind into it and try to enjoy that martial art, and discover the benefits that they give you. And I'm gonna tell you really quick. One time, by the way, I studied industrial engineering, right? And one teacher, I was giving out the career day in a school, and he asked me why I don't do I didn't choose to work as an industrial engineer. And I said, because I have the opportunity to do martial arts, but if you enjoy doing other things, just choose what you love to do, and that way you're gonna be living happy, spending your 8-10 hours a day doing something that you really like, besides your family. That for me is, I'm blessed, because is correct?
Blessed, yeah.
Yes. Because I have the opportunity to do something that I really like to do. And I tell the kids, sometimes there's like oh, you're just gonna do martial arts? Like, no, I have to prepare myself to live as a martial artist. I need to prepare myself in school. I need to prepare myself, experimenting other jobs, experimenting, because I have the opportunity to work in the fields. I have the opportunity to work as a taxi driver. I have the opportunity to work in a farm, cleaning pigs and feeding them every day. I have the opportunity to work as and different other stuff, and because in the moment I have to do it. In the moment I have to, the life asked me to do that, and put me in that path, and I have to do it. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes people they push themselves to I want to teach for life, but you probably didn't experiment other kind of jobs. You didn't experiment to go to school. My parents, well, not my dad, but my mother asked me, "Oh, you spent this many years studying industrial engineering," and I told her, "Yes, but that helps me to run my school. Mm-hmm. That gave me the tools to run my school and to have a successful school, mm-hmm. and that way give me the tools to learn, right? Or to learn how to learn." Mm-hmm. And I tell my kids, even if you want to be a soccer player, go college, have that experience, learn something there, or you want to learn mechanic, go and learn the mechanic. It doesn't mean that you have to work as a mechanic, but you have that feeling that you want to learn that, just learn it. Mm-hmm. And for me, another part that I enjoy what I do is because, I give the maintenance to my school. I'm the one who changed the bulbs. Well, sometimes you help me a couple of times, but I have to do some modifications to the floor, mm-hmm. and put in my hands tools like power tools to do something different. And I like, besides martial arts, I like to work in wood. I like to do some kind of furniture, and I like to, and I have that opportunity to enjoy that. But if I put myself as in construction, probably will not enjoy that much to go in every single day and work in construction and do work, working in wood. But as hobby is great. Like I do some construction as hobby, some remodeling as hobby, but don't just say like, oh, I'm gonna do this. Give you opportunity to learn other areas, and I promise that will lead you to what you want to do.
That's awesome. Okay, so here's your plug your stuff moment. So if people would like to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you?
Okay, they can email me at amorapim502@gmail.com. Okay, they can look in our website, salinastaekwondo.com. Well, by the way, they working today in that.
Nice.
Yeah, we have to fix some things there. Or you go to my Facebook page and Salinas Taekwondo, or visit us. You can come to. Right, hopefully we can stay there for a long time. And 502 Pajaro Street, Salinas, California, 93901.
And phone number?
Phone number is 831-753-6408.
There we go.
Yes.
Once again, thank you so much for taking the time out to do this interview with me. You're a friend, mentor, brother, teacher, all of that stuff for the last 20 years plus. I'm looking forward to another 50 years.
Thank you, Steve.
All righty. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
I love getting to spend time chatting with Master Mora. For years, he's told me to call him by his first name, but that ain't going to happen. I'm happy he took the time to sit down and tell us his story. Perseverance and positive attitude go a long way to changing your life for the better. I hope you guys enjoy hearing his story too. Okay, for the next 2 episodes, we're going to feature world-renowned artist and creator of the Pastoral Arts movement, Mr. Edmund K. Parker II, or as he requested I introduce him, Ed Parker. He's completed thousands of artistic projects, including providing diploma design services for the martial arts world and over 2,000 portraits of martial artists. His current labor of love with his wife Bear is the Pastoral Arts curriculum. What is Pastoral Arts? Why does it appear similar to some other martial arts? Tune in for the next 2 episodes and find out. Why 2? Because his interview ran so long I told him we'd have to split it into 2 parts. It'll be fun. See you next week. Again, if you like what you're hearing so far with these episodes, share the positivity. Ripples in a pond. Tell someone you think might enjoy it. Share around the links. Together we can give people good messages and help them just by letting them share in these messages. Find us at artistofmotion.com/iTunes, artistofmotion.com/Google Play, on Facebook at Artists of Motion, email pod@artistofmotion.com. That's it for this episode. I'm Steve Zalazowski. Catch you next time on the Artist of Motion podcast.